Hey guys, it's Bunn. Welcome to the very first episode of In Between Rounds, a space where you can feel safe sharing what's on your mind. No pressure, no judgment, just a calm moment to breathe, reflect, and feel a little less alone. This series is all about mental health and the thoughts we carry that often go unspoken. In the description, there's a Google form where you can send in anonymous submissions. Whether you're overwhelmed, disconnected, anxious, or just need a safe space to say what you're going through. Each week, I'll read 1 or 2 submissions and talk about them here. Since this is the first episode, I'll be starting with a topic of my own, not knowing how to rest without feeling guilty. Let's talk about it. Part 1. The guilt of resting too much. Feeling guilty for resting is something I struggle with every single day. As a full-time nurse, streamer, and student, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do it all. To be productive, to stay on top of everything, to constantly be working towards something. Anything less feels like I'm slacking, like I'm wasting time. And yet, I sleep a lot. Not because I want to, but because I feel like I can't function unless I do. 9 hours, 10 hours, sometimes even 12. But no matter how long I sleep, I still wake up feeling awful. Physically, my body feels heavy. Mentally, it's like I'm already behind before I even get out of bed. The guilt kicks in immediately. You slept the whole day away. You should have gotten up earlier. You're wasting time again. What's wrong with you? Then come the mental checklists. You should have gone grocery shopping. Did you ever fold that laundry? When are you going to finish that video? How are you going to get all this done now? I'm constantly torn between needing rest and hating myself for it. Because the rest never feels like enough. I'm still exhausted, I still feel drained, and I keep telling myself I shouldn't be. It's like no matter what I do, push through, or slow down, I lose. I either burn out trying to do too much, or drown in guilt for not doing enough. But I'm trying to work on this. Trying to remind myself that rest isn't weak. It isn't selfish. It's not lazy. It's human. It's necessary. And maybe, just maybe, it's okay to not earn rest. Maybe you're allowed to rest simply because you exist. Part 2. Why do we feel guilty for resting? I've been asking myself this question a lot lately. Why do I feel so guilty for something as basic and necessary as rest? Why do I equate slowing down with being lazy? Or worse, being a failure? And the more I think about it, the more I realize. A lot of us were taught, directly or indirectly, that our worth is tied to how much we do. We grew up hearing things like, "You're wasting time just lying around. You can rest after you finish everything. Hard work pays off." And that turns into this idea that if you're not producing something, you're not valuable. So even when your body is screaming for rest, even when your mind is shutting down, there's still this voice in your head going, "You haven't earned it. You don't deserve to slow down. You still have so much to do." And I think that's where a lot of this guilt comes from. Not just from our to-do lists, but from how we were conditioned to measure ourselves. We live in a culture that celebrates burnout. Where pulling all-nighters and working 2 jobs is seen as admirable, and resting is often seen as slacking off. But that's just not sustainable. You can't pour from an empty cup. And yet, here we are, judging ourselves for not being able to give more when we're already running on fumes. Part 3. What rest actually is. So, we know the guilt is real and deep-rooted, but what is rest, really? Here's how I've started to see it. Rest isn't the enemy. It's part of the whole process. Think about your phone. You don't get mad at it for needing to charge. You don't call it lazy or unproductive. You just plug it in because you know it needs energy to keep working. Our bodies and minds are exactly the same. We're not meant to run non-stop. Rest isn't doing nothing. It's recharging. It's repairing. It's the foundation that makes productivity possible. When I push myself without enough rest, I mess up. I forget things. I feel overwhelmed and drained. It's like trying to run a race on an empty tank. When I prioritize rest, even if it feels unproductive, I come back stronger, clearer, more focused. Rest looks different for everyone. Sometimes it's sleeping in. Sometimes it's taking a walk. Sometimes it's doing something fun that has nothing to do with work or goals. Sometimes it's just sitting quietly and breathing. And rest isn't a reward you earn after working hard. It's something you need while you're working. Rest is part of being human. Part 4. How to start shifting the guilt. So, what can we actually do about it? How do we start cutting ourselves some slack when the voice in our head is screaming, "You should be doing more"? I don't have a perfect answer. I'm still working on this too. But here's what's helped me so far. Number 1, talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. If a close friend told you they were exhausted and felt guilty for resting, you probably wouldn't call them lazy, right? You tell them it's okay to rest. They deserve it. So try to extend that same kindness to yourself. Number 2, schedule your rest. It might sound weird, but plan out time for rest like you would for work or school. When it's on the calendar, it feels more deserved. It's a planned part of your day, not a waste of time. Number 3, challenge your to-do list expectations. Ask yourself, is everything on your list really urgent or important? Sometimes we overload ourselves with things that can wait or don't matter as much as we think. Number 4, remember, your worth isn't tied to your output. You're worthy just because you exist, not because of how much you check off or accomplish. Number 5, give yourself permission to rest without conditions. Rest isn't a reward, it's a right. You don't have to earn it or justify it. You deserve it simply because you're human. And finally, be patient with yourself. Changing how we think about rest and guilt doesn't happen overnight. Some days you'll do better. Some days the guilt will win. And that's okay. It's a process. Part 5. When the guilt creeps back. So, here's the thing about all this. Even when I know all these things, the guilt still sneaks back in sometimes. It's like a stubborn shadow that won't quite disappear. There have been nights when I plan to get some rest, but 10 minutes in, my brain is already spiraling. You should be editing that video. You didn't finish that assignment. You're letting everyone down. And it's exhausting. One night, I remember lying in bed, trying to sleep, but feeling so anxious that I was wasting time. I got up, opened my laptop, and started working, even though my body was begging me to rest. I thought, if I don't do this now, I'll regret it later. But what happened? I just ended up being even more tired and burned out the next day. That's when I realized guilt doesn't motivate me. It drains me. Now, when the guilt starts creeping in, I try a few things. I pause and breathe. I remind myself rest is part of the process. I say it out loud. It's okay to take a break. It sounds silly, but hearing it helps. I remind myself of the cost of ignoring rest. Like that time I was so tired, I forgot how I got home from work. That scared me. I journal. Writing down the guilt and fears helps me get them out of my head. I reach out. Whether it's talking to a friend or even sharing my feelings on stream, connection helps me feel less alone with these feelings. It's not perfect, and I still have days where I fight with myself about resting, but every time I push back against the guilt, it gets a little easier. And if you're listening and feeling that same guilt, you're not alone. It's a battle we all fight in our own ways. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Talking about rest and guilt isn't always easy, but it's something we all face. You don't need to have all the answers right now. It's okay to take one step at a time. If anything I said resonated with you, or if there's something you want me to talk about next time, please use the anonymous Google form in the description and send me your thoughts. This space is for all of us. No judgment, just honesty and support. If you found this helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Your support means the world to me and helps keep this conversation going. Remember, you're doing enough even when it doesn't feel like it. Rest is not your enemy, it's part of your strength. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week in between rounds.